Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grow With Us. My name is Evan Barton, and I'm your host who helps create conversations with the innovators and leaders of a growing tech center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The Grow With Us podcast highlights the work of community leaders, tech entrepreneurs, nonprofit professionals, and talent development advocates in Tulsa. Grow With Us is a podcast of In Tulsa. In Tulsa's mission is to connect talented individuals and companies to stimulate economic growth in Tulsa and to create more prosperous communities across the region. Each episode, Grow With Us discusses the growth of opportunities, the growth of communities striving for change, or the tech and innovation that is changing the landscape of Tulsa. On this episode of Grow With Us, I speak with Jameelah Stuckey, Program Manager of the African American Leadership Academy of Tulsa. We discuss navigating different job sectors and opportunities and her meaningful impact in Tulsa through nonprofit, education, and leadership development accessibility. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Grow With Us. I am so excited to welcome Jameelah to the podcast today. Jameelah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm grateful.
Absolutely. I loved the way that you came into the Grow With Us family. We've been trying to get our names out there a little bit on LinkedIn and put some feelers out there for who's a good guest. And you emailed from the video, yes. And the way you started the email was "Happy Day."
Yep, that's my thing.
I love it, and it actually really encapsulates experiencing you as a person in a lot of ways. It's a happy day. I get to see Jameelah.
It is, and I'm not gonna lie. I was a little Salt Lake City because I was like, everybody is on here that I know. They don't like me because I'm pigeon-toed, or what's going on? Why is this discrimination taking place? So I was very excited when I saw the video and was able to be on it.
Yes, that's how it works. We're working on, honestly, I do my best to network and meet people. And once I do that, I ask them to be on my podcast. Yes. And then they say yes.
Right.
That's how it works.
It just works out.
Which is so awesome. And, getting to know you a little bit more has really kind of, I think, it's come to my with this episode, we're going to be talking about some really awesome things. Mm-hmm. You do some amazing work here in Tulsa that I'm so excited to highlight. I would love for you to take this opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience, tell us your story in whatever way you feel comfortable.
Absolutely. I was born by the river in a little tent. No, I'm joking. So I am originally from Los Angeles, California. I am 9 of 10 children, so it's a lot of us growing up in the space.
A lot of Stuckeys.
A lot of Stuckeys being stuck together. We were very sticky. But it was a beautiful thing. So my parents are not from California. They came to California. My father came to California from Texarkana, Arkansas on the Greyhound bus back in the day. And my mother and her family is from Louisiana. So They came that way as well. And so I grew up there, and I was very spoiled because my dad is the favorite. And so when the favorite had a favorite, because there was not a girl in between there. So when they had me, it was yay, we got a girl. And so it was perfect. Even though I looked like a little boy, it was very disrespectful. I had one curl that stuck straight up like I was somebody's alfalfa. And I looked like a boy. They dressed me like a rugged, outdoor, backwoods boy. And I said, okie dokie. And I was okay with that. Completely fine. And my dad didn't like it. So he made some changes to my aesthetic. I started wearing dresses.
I love that.
And all kinds of stuff, but I was still cutting up. So there's that. I always loved to eat. I was a very large child. Okay, I had rolls on my elbows. I was big. Okay, and I don't miss a snack now. You see these curves, I got to feed them. So
exactly.
Thank you. So I missed no meals, no checks and no meals. So I grew up in that space, and I grew up in South Central LA, which a lot of people now call South LA. People know it from different areas or different things. To give you a visual location where Nipsey Hussle's murder took place, I grew up down the street from there. I still live there. My family's still there. We still have a house there and all of those things. And so it was a very different environment. I went to elementary school. It's an interesting time because this is back in the day when the elementary schools had they had the college and you could bring your kids there. And so so that's where I was at.
Okay.
And so I was over there. It was a lovely, lovely time, had great time. But that started my love for not just food, but culture and differences.
Absolutely.
Because one of my best friends, who was my man, his name is James, and he is Filipino. And he is also blind. So we started connecting over food.
Absolutely.
He would I would give him my food for my lunch pail. He would give me his, and we would just.
Oh, you're gonna love this, James.
Right. I was like, no, try the yam. Put the yam now. Dip it in the sauce. Don't it? Okay. You see what I'm talking about? You got to get that green gravy on there.
Exactly.
So it was a beautiful exchange and things, but that kind of opened my world up to different perspectives and different cultures. And same thing with high school. Same thing with college.
Yeah.
College, undergrad, I went to FAMU. All right. So me and Dom, who y'all know from Act House, and Hunter from Building in Tulsa, and Azure D, who's a realtor, all of us went to FAM.
That's awesome.
And so that started a different form of diversity for me because, yes, physically, most of us looked alike. But culturally, experience-wise, all of those other things, it was different.
Absolutely.
And so that was a different experience for me. I remember, you know how most people gain the freshman 25?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I lost weight. And let me tell you why, because they're disrespectful with their food. So first of all, I don't know why everything has to be pickled. I don't understand it.
In Florida?
Yeah. And then they got different colored liquids and it floats. And you want me to purchase that? I won't do it. I can't. I shan't. So there was that. That was different. They ate a lot of tilapia. I had never had tilapia before. There was so many differences. The ants there bite the red and the black ones.
Oh, whoa.
Which is very disrespectful. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right. And so it was a different experience.
It's kind of what I know about Florida, though.
Yeah. That sounds about right. That sounds about Florida-ish. And so it was perfect. It was fine. I had a good time there. I majored in finance and accounting. So my background is different coming into education than typically other people is. I've been working in banking since I was 9th grade, which is crazy to think about and say. But I started off as a teller at Washington Mutual, which is now Chase. And then from there, I worked for Bank of America because they didn't have a Chase in Tallahassee at the time. And so I worked for Bank of America as a teller. Then I did treasury sales, credit sales, commercial card sales. I've lived in Los Angeles, DC, Maryland, Chicago, now Tulsa, of course. Yes. And I loved all of those places. All of those experiences were different. And what sparked me to go into education actually started from my political time when I worked at the White House under the Obama administration, did some things there. And then when I left the banking industry, I decided that I wanted to give back to my community. And I saw one of the major needs was education. Absolutely. I was like, okay, what can I do? How can I get in there? And that's a setup in itself. Because I don't know who out here trying to be a teacher in real life, but God bless them. Okay?
Absolutely. God bless them.
I said, huh? Who? Yeah. Not getting paid in cottage cheese and pesos. I don't have the time. So I went and I did AmeriCorps at Vista, which is a huge jump.
Yes, absolutely.
In pay, culture, everything. From Bank of America in Chicago.
Service.
AmeriCorps Vista in LA.
You're in the service industry.
Literally. My dad would say, oh no, she's volunteering. It's okay. She's doing her.
For a year.
Yeah. She's doing mission work. Don't worry about it. This is charitable. Because it can't be real. Yeah. Why would you leave making that to do that? So there was that piece of it. But I learned so much from that experience. It really kind of enriched me and it sparked. It was the catalyst for ooh, I like this. And it was the college and careers, my jam and my passion. I love it. And so then I did some other work within education in LA. I got some more education about education. I got some more degrees, things of that nature. And then after that, I went to a program called Education Pioneers. That's what brought me to Tulsa. Not Tulsa Remote for the haters, okay? I'm still waiting on my check. Anyway, so I did Education Pioneers, and they placed me in Oklahoma. And I was only supposed to be here for 8 weeks, and now I'm here for 4 years.
Whoa.
It's crazy, because they was like, okay, after 8 weeks, then you're done, and we'll figure out, you can go back home. And Tulsa became home. I really, really, really like Tulsa. And so that was a great place for me. And so that's how I've been here this long. And I don't work with that same organization anymore, but I still work within education. Absolutely. And so that is kind of a part of my story. I am, from my signature line, I'm sure you've seen it because I put it all in there. Yes. I am an ENFP, Myers-Briggs. I'm a blue in True Colors. I have a 2 in the Enneagram. This is all me. I'm a Capricorn in Zodiac.
Yes.
Okay. And so all of these pieces come together to make the picture that is me.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for all of that. I love your story in so many ways. I like the way that you you really told it like a story. I got to know little Jameelah.
Right, yeah.
High school fam, you, Jameelah.
Come on.
which is like, I think you're really hitting on, something that I like to. That's the reason I asked this question, is because it's so interesting to see how some people will shy away from talking about themselves, but some people, I think, have a really good understanding of the plot line of their life up to this point.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like, oh, some people are better than others in the terms of their stories or, what they've done, what they haven't done. But I think it stands to tell what you've reflected on, what has, I love how in your story, I heard you say a couple of times, this sparked something for me. Yeah. So you're someone that really responds to inspiration.
Yes.
And then you go and chase it.
Yes.
Which is so cool. I think I'm very similar to you in that way.
Yeah.
Might be my Capricorn moon in there.
Come on, Capricorn moon. I knew I liked you. There it is.
But no, it's super cool. And you teed up this next question perfectly. I'd love for you to kind of dive into Tulsa. What's turned 8 weeks into 4 years for you?
Oh my goodness, so many things. Tulsa, so I've always been a very city country girl kind of at heart. So I grew up in the church. My mother is a pastor, Seventh-day Adventist. My father is Muslim. So I grew up in, once again, there's that diversity.
Absolutely.
It's very different. So I grew up on both kind of sides of the street, so to speak. And we always went to smaller churches. I always resonated with smaller churches and smaller areas. I resonated with smaller schools. Everything about it was just smaller and slower.
Yeah.
I am the only sibling out of all of my siblings that feel that way.
Wow.
So when I was given the opportunity for Bank of America to move to New York, and I was like, absolutely no. What's another city? I don't want to be there.
Not that
one. And I was like, oh, what about Charlotte? They were like, you want to go to Charlotte as a young person? You want to work and live in Charlotte? Absolutely, I do. It sounds great to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're so hateful. So Tulsa is a place to me that I always say it's a place that you can realize your dreams. Like you dream it and it becomes this chase in larger cities like LA. And you're like, oh, I'm still chasing after the dream.
Absolutely.
So now I'm 50 and I'm winning my first Emmy and I'm excited. Okay, no. Let's be for real. In Tulsa, it's a different situation. I can say this is something I want to do. Then I can go to build in Tulsa and join We Build. And then I can pitch and then I can get money for it. And the next thing I know, now people are investing in it and want it to be a larger thing. And then it becomes a whole program or organization on its own. And, it's becoming bigger than what I had originally anticipated. And so that's one thing that drew me to Tulsa. Tulsa is easy. Okay. On this, what they say, easy street, okay? In the Annie thing, okay, that's what I feel like to me. So it's very easy, very light. Everybody is really sweet and nice. I like that about it. I like that there's no traffic. I don't care what anybody says. There's no traffic
There's no traffic here. Nope.
And that other lane, that's what caused me to get the tickets I got. I'm just going to be honest, okay? Because no one told me that I could not ride in this other lane and supposed to keep it clear unless I'm passing.
Well, that's a new thing over here. Yeah,
that sounded like a setup to somebody like me who's from California, okay? I said, what? Is this a joke? Click. I was gone. I was out of there. You hear me? And of course, whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police. Okay, they was right behind me. This is what made me fall in love with Tulsa, though. Got pulled over the first time. And this man, he's hilarious. God bless him. He got out the car and he said, you blew past me like I was stale. And I said, sir, I'm in a Nissan Sentra. There is no way in any earth that I could have blown past you.
I blew past you, literally.
In any way, sir. I think
you have a nicer car than
that part. It might have been a tinge dramatic, but it's okay. Yeah. God bless him. And he was like, well, he asked for the license, whatever. He said, oh, you're not from here. I said, no, I'm not. So he was like, well, let me educate you, how the lanes work, how we do things here, what it is. He's like, where are you going? I said, oh, I'm going to church. And of course, anybody know me know I was late. Okay. So I had to get there before the benediction.
Exactly.
So I was like, come on, I'm trying to get my blessing. What's going on? You holding up the line. So he was just looking at me like,
you're in the way of God.
Right, you have a lot of audacity, ma'am. I was like, let's go. Yes. And so he didn't give me a ticket. He gave me a warning and I was grateful. 2 weeks later, I'm in Walmart minding my very black business, doing the rollback prices, okay, trying to get my buy one, get ones, my 2 for $5 Cheez-Its. And I looked up, he was right there shopping. I ran up on that man like I was a fan, okay? Hugged him. Okay. Like I knew him from way back.
Mhm.
He remembered me and he was like, "Hey, Cali girl, you still speeding?" I said, "No, sir. I'm slowing down, sir. I promise."
I got a warning.
Yeah, and I appreciate it because see, the ticket would have stung me.
Exactly.
Okay, but the warning
I wouldn't be
helps
coming
me.
up to you in the store.
Not at all. It'd have been a whole different way. Like, So I was like, this is Tulsa. That's so different for me. He remembered me. He was like in the community, in the neighborhood. That was different. And then I got 2 more tickets after that. I didn't get tickets. I did get 2 more warnings, but they were always willing to learn, like to teach me.
Okay, interesting.
And was like, "Oh, you're not from here." The moment they saw my California license, they were like, "Oh, she don't know.
Okay.
Let me teach her." And I am so grateful and appreciative for that experience. So that was another thing. And then I think the last piece, it's interesting because I had to ask myself if I'm in love with Tulsa or in love with the experiences I've had. And I think it's both.
Absolutely.
Because Tulsa was the first place that I was as an adult, like a grown person with my own everything.
My own everything.
And which drove me to get a dog. Oh, I love my baby too. My dookie butt. Yes. Anyway, so I grew up here in a different way.
Absolutely.
And I am grateful for that experience. So those are some of the things that keep me and that have kept me in Tulsa.
That's amazing. I love that. I think you absolutely have had really a similar experience to me, having grown up here. Mm-hmm. I grew up as a little boy, as a little queer kid, and then as a young adult. And then like now in this like adulthood phase where I'm exploring different elements of who I am and everything. Like, I think you're so right. It's slightly nurturing in the connections that you have and the people that I think check up on you and also are able to in some ways like fast track your success.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of those things are huge.
All the things.
I wanted to ask you real quick, what do you think about, do you think Tulsa is the South?
Okay, so for me, yes. But let me tell you how I feel about it. I don't feel like it's the South in that where it's geographically located.
Absolutely.
I feel like some of the spirit of it has an aftertaste of South, right? Mm-hmm. I think that the people and individuals, though, give very Midwestern.
Yep.
So it's interesting. It's almost like the smog in the air. I can't really see it, but I know it's there. And I'm like,
and we're not the Southwest, even though some people like to say because we are West, we are in the Southwest.
And see, I don't even know what that means. And see, to me, you all had the combination because I was with you until I went start these tacos that y'all call tacos. Okay, right. So
no
this
green chilies.
Yeah, no, I said, where's the cilantro and the onion? Oh. The queso. I said, okay.
No, is it white or is it yellow?
Yeah, right. This is very Tex-Mex.
Yes.
Okay, so that gives that. And then, so everything, every piece of it is different. I love that. I do not and would not consider it the South. When I think about the South, I think about like Mississippi, Alabama, places like that.
Georgia, all those things. You know what? I'm kind of starting to like that more and more about Tulsa is that it ain't either of them. Right. It ain't nothing. And it is not, you can't just put it in a box. You can't. And maybe parts of Oklahoma maybe fit in those boxes a little bit better.
Absolutely. There are parts.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But I think where Tulsa has kind of really centered itself for me. I mean, having grown up here and all these things and seen it grow through these changes, it's the most to me like Texas, but we are nicer than Texans for sure by a mile, 100%.
You know, I think,
and I'm like, is Texas the South? I don't even know. Is it?
I don't know, but that flag definitely makes it Southern to me. I don't know. I do think that Tulsa, what's interesting to me? I feel like Tulsa and Oklahoma City are so different.
Oh, yes.
Oklahoma City, I can't. Please don't put me there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be there. I don't want to go there, Ma.
We've never really trashed on OKC, and I don't. And I think we're speaking from experiences that are just drastically different from what we have here.
OKC is just different.
It's just different.
When I found out they were charging for parking after 5, I said, no, ma'am, let me go back home.
Well, and
let me go back to Tulsa.
It's so spread out. I've thought about this so much because I'm like, the prospect of a Tulsa to OKC, like fast train or something like that would be amazing.
No,
the
I think
interconnectedness of that. It would be great. But how am I going to get around in OKC without a car?
Let's be all the way real.
Let's be real.
But I think that their transportation system might be a little more developed.
Yeah, they have possibly, a streetcar, which I think is pretty cool.
It's cool. That's cute. I think.
But there ain't no way it's going all the way around the town.
That's it. So you're stuck like Chuck.
Yeah.
But there's Ubers and Lyfts or whatever, I guess, the other way to get around. Yeah. But I do think it would be great because it reminds me of similarly to how they have a train from LA to San Diego.
Yeah.
And San Diego and LA are very different lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the train there, and I get to San Diego, and I was like, okay, now what do we do?
Yeah.
Where do I go here? And so they started developing more things. And so I think that would be great. And I think if that's a need that Tulsa decides to feel, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I would love it. But all right, I'm going to pivot us a little bit more into really just who you are professionally and a lot of what the work that you've been able to accomplish in 4 years in Tulsa. And let me just tell you, it's not a short list.
Right.
But I want to kind of get into this first topic really quick. To me, and having known you for a little bit, you're a very inspiring professional from the roles that you've had. And I really want to dive in specifically to kind of this, and you outlined this a lot in your story, just the different job sectors that you have experience in. So, we've got banking in the financial industry. We've got politics at the federal level, nonprofit administration, education, DEI, and now program management and what you do. What's really been your guiding light while navigating industry and opportunity? I think that your perspective on this will really be interesting for a lot of people out there listening.
Yeah, so I think when I think about industry and opportunity, so it's interesting because I am semi-fearless when it comes to these opportunities. And like I take risks there. Personally, I don't take as many, I feel. And so when I think about it, I always think about what do I want to do and accomplish? Where do I want to be? Even if it does not exist.
Yeah.
This is where the out of the box thinking comes in, because the box thinking is it doesn't exist, so I can't. Mine is like, no, it doesn't exist. Somebody gonna create it, or I'm gonna create it, or whatever. But I want it and I'm getting it, and that's it. I want you and I need you and I'm gonna get you. That's it. That's how I feel. So I think that for me, there's that. The other part of it, really, if I'm being very transparent and honest, I got into finance and accounting and business because of my dad. My dad wrote a list down. And he was like, these are the things I'm paying for. These are the things I'm not paying for. And he slid it across the table.
Oh.
And I was like, no, there has to be some amendments because what I want to do is not on the pay for list. What do you mean? Is there an appendix? Is there a back side of this? What are you talking about?
Can I submit?
Right. Can I appeal this decision? What are we talking about here? And he was like, I said what I said.
Said I love you, but.
And that's it. Now, initially, I had pushback on it because it's like, who wants to, your parents tell you this and you da-da-da. And then I had to step back and think about it. He's not telling me this from a space of he wants to hold me back. He's telling me this from not only a space of love, but his experience, right? He grew up with the color and only water fountain and this and that. He understands what education can do for those who really take full advantage of it and what parts are helpful. And so I did finance and accounting as a result of that. I went to an HBCU because I wanted to, but I went to finance and accounting specifically because of that reason. And that brought me so much experience and joy and excitement. And then the reality kicked in that I felt like I wasn't doing enough for my community. When I went to a client call and we had the deck and we had the pitch, we had everything down and they were talking about all these things. And I was like, what does this even look like for people? What's happening here?
If I were the client.
Exactly.
With this,
because my role in the commercial card space was to tell people why they need to stop paying people in check. I needed to stop paying people in check and begin to pay people with card. And then we talked about the rebate. I calculated, did that whole thing. And was convincing them on why they should do it. Essentially convincing them on why they already have enough money, why they need to get more money. And I was like, what does this look like for people who live on 57th Street where I grew up?
Absolutely.
Do we even get, do they even know this? I'm like, they don't.
No.
Who's going to tell them? Why not you? I was like, okay.
No.
And I was like, well, I wonder what a need would look like for my community. And that's when education popped up. And so what sparked me there was education. Now, moonwalking back to business, what got me into the politics, the political part of it, which is hilarious, two things. There's one lady, I love her to pieces. She was not my advisor, but didn't I tell you I follow a snack?
Yes.
Okay. So she had the snacks. So I was in her, I literally was in her office every single day.
Hey.
Every single day. I'm like, hey, you got this apple? Oh, this apple from, okay. All right. Come on, I'm here for the apple. And so I was there in her office. I remember I came in there one day and she was like, oh, I don't know, nominated you for this thing. And I was like, okay, what's the thing? She was like, I don't want to tell you yet. I want to wait till we get more information. And I was like, lady, Okay, because this secret nomination, Underground Railroad, Hogwarts, Gryffindor type conversation you having with me right now, I don't understand what's going on. So I was
I go into Survivor?
I just was like, are the apples going to be in limited supply or what? Because I just need to know about that food. I don't care about nothing else you're talking about. And so a couple weeks later, I came back and she was like, oh, congratulations, you like got accepted. I was like, great. Into what?
To what?
Like, what is this thing? And she was like, oh, into the White House internship program. I said, oh, wow, lovely. And that pays. So I just need to understand that the check was, I told you, snacks and checks. So.
Prepaid.
Right. That's it. I was like, they're going to give me prepaid visa. What's going on?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, no, it's unpaid. Boop. But I don't even know you wasted your nomination on me.
That is so kind of you. That is so kind.
I so appreciate you. I do. However, that's not going to be able to work. Yeah. And going back to my father again, at the time I was working for the state of Florida in the Department of Education, like sector.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, I got accepted into this thing, but I don't think I'm going to do it. He was like, Jameelah, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean? Did you not hear me just say they ain't paying people?
It's unpaid.
And not only are they paying people, it's in D.C., Washington, D.C. We don't live in the District of Columbia. Okay? So he was like, oh, I think you
family,
should.
Yeah.
Right. He was like, oh, I think you should do it. I was like, ugh. I was like, I know it's Obama, but he'll be all right.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I ultimately decided to do it. Found out that I did have a cousin that lived there. Forgot all about Cousin Darren. Shout out to Cousin Darren. We left him to pieces. But he had moved there from New York. And so he lived there with his family, and I was able to stay with him. This is the benefits of having parents who are the oldest, because they tell everybody else what to do and they listen.
Oh, yeah.
So my mom was like, oh, I'm about to call him right now. You're going to stay with him. That was it. I said, did you ask him?
It's decided.
Right. Does he have room? What's going on? He's like, no. You're going to stay. He's not going to say no.
Yeah.
I said, okay, well, I'm on my business. Stay in my lane.
Love you, Mama.
Right. Appreciate you. So I went out there and it was perfect. I went there. I stayed with them in New Carrollton, Maryland and Laurel, Maryland. I worked in D.C. I took the train every day. It was perfect. And it was really one of the best experiences I could have had in my life. That also sparked me into going back into education again, because when I was there, I worked. So first of all, I don't know if people know this, but the White House comment line is real. We do give the comments to the president. And I was the manager for the comment line. So if somebody says something outrageous, or they ask to speak to the manager, like we do when something's not right, where's your manager? This bill is wrong. I would come on the line and the Secret Service would already be on there, and we would have these conversations with individuals, and then I would put them into like a spreadsheet. I would tabulate them, scrub the data, all of that. I would give it to the president every night so that he knew what to talk about when he traveled to different places.
Wow.
And so we would do that, and that was great. And I remember this lady called, and they called a Gold Star, which meant that her husband passed away in combat, and she and her family obviously were still alive. And so we had a special kind of tailoring or thing that we did for them. She called and she was crying and she was like, I don't get these benefits and this and that, and I don't understand what's going on. And I went to the department that was over that and was like, y'all need to talk to her. Did y'all call her back? I had her personal line. They were like, Jameelah, you are not supposed to do that. We are not supposed to be doing that. I was in there. You would have thought I was Tyra Banks. We all wanted you to win. I was in there banging on the table. I was yelling. I was crying. I was like, we are not doing enough for these people. What are you talking about? I was way too passionate.
At the highest level, too, though.
That really bothered me.
Yeah.
And it was just too much for me. So much so they put me on I don't know how you go on a sabbatical when you weren't paid. It's crazy. But they were like, we're just going to give you a few days at home to get yourself together and then come back, because I was very emotional and very outraged.
It's your work. I mean, if that's what you're going to be doing,
help the people.
Absolutely.
How you not going to help these people? Like me writing down a comment is not helping her.
Yeah.
Right? So it really irritated my spirit.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I need to go back and give back. Education is the thing, because had she known that she could do this, then she would be all right. And so what happened with that is I was able to educate her on that, give her the things that she needed. And then I was like, let me just go into education. So that's what I did. I went into education.
I think, it sounds like that inspiration, your spirit, it's sitting right with you in a certain way is what you listen to yourself.
Yes.
You have a very strong intuition that has not I don't think it's led you astray.
No, it has not. It has not.
You also have an amazing support system.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like too. And I think that you allow for that support system to influence you, but not to direct you. Yeah, right. And you're the captain of your ship.
Absolutely.
And I think that's not a skill that comes to everyone. Right. So that's amazing. That's how you're able to apply your skills, your spirit, what you have to give to these different sectors, and always provide that level of service to someone. And I think that's also another element too. You have a service oriented heart too.
Yes.
That's amazing, and I love that. I love that you keep getting to do that in so many ways.
Yes, I'm grateful to be able to do it as well.
And one of the ways that I've seen you do this in Tulsa specifically was through the Tulsa Young Professionals Organization, of which I know you have some affiliation to. So share with our audience a little bit about some of the things that you've done with Type Rose.
So we love Type Rose. So I was with Type Rose back in the day when I first got here. I talked to Malachi. I remember I came to one of the leadership and service meetings, and I spoke with Malachi. And I don't know how the conversation went from like, oh, this is cool, to, oh, now you're going to co-chair the such and such. I said, huh? How did that happen?
I love it.
And so that
said I got an apple for you.
Right, exactly. I got some snacks. That's how they get me. They always get me with the snacks. And so he brought me in, and I was able to do that. Malachi is awesome. And so from there, I joined the diversity crew and other crews and did that. And then I applied for leadership. And I'm friends with Andrea Pemberton, who was the ED at the time. And so we had a conversation about it. I applied. And that is how the story of Judy and Jameelah became to be a thing, because I was the chair of the diversity crew. Judy was the co-chair of the diversity crew. And together we did our thing.
Absolutely.
That is how we did with Type Rose. And we added different levels of diversity. So we did a Deaf World, which was amazing. I just did it again with my other organization.
That's awesome.
And they're now, I think, a part of the Oklahoma Center for Individuals with Physical Needs or Physical Disabilities. They're a part of that group. And so I was able to we did that. We did some things with the Indian community. And we did things with Native American community and the Latinx community and the Asian American community and Pacific Islander. Like, we really worked hard to diversify it in not just the physical ways, but also in experience and culture and background. And so we not only did we come to the Pride Festival, we made it a signature event for us.
Yeah.
And so those are different ways that we were able to engage with different communities. And that's some of the things that we did with Type Rose. And so it was a good time.
J&J over there.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely.
Yes. And we're talking, of course, about Judy Williams.
Absolutely.
The one and only.
Serving full cheekbone. Fabulous. Yes.
Exactly. That's amazing. I think that we've had so many folks represented that have had some experience with Type Rose, whether it's in a leadership capacity or as a member. And I think it always strikes people in different ways. Whether it's the space that organization holds for leaders, developing leaders. I think specifically in your case, like doversity in young professionals in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's just dissect that a little bit down.
Right.
I think that when people, I guess I wouldn't go as far to say this now, but like when people used to think about Tulsa, they would not have thought about it to be a place that is diverse.
No.
And
not at all.
Not at all.
I think now people still don't think that really.
Exactly. We're working on it.
We're working on it. Right.
But I think the intentionality that you approached that topic with your expertise, with your experiences, I just added to the breadth and depth of that experience for the entire organization.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about community work, the communities that exist here, and reaching out to those communities and through service, through education, through leadership development. I think that's the like power and purpose of an organization like Type Rose, to connect people to this landscape that's here, that's been here, and highlighting it in a specific way, which that's why I'll always give my flowers to Type Rose.
I definitely also don't want to leave out Tanya Garza, because I was her co-chair before I became chair. And so was able to learn from her. And there was a lot of things that she did that I kind of took and took on and wanted to continue for my role in it as chair. And so she was also pivotal in a lot of those decisions and things that we did and ways that we moved and things we didn't do, things like that.
I love Tanya. Talk about a Tulsa change maker. She is out there doing the work. Yeah. She's going to be on here one of these days.
Yes, for sure.
So let's talk a little bit more about the work you're currently doing.
Yes.
So I'd love for you to share specifically, about the work that you do at the African American Leadership Academy of Tulsa. Just in my quick little view of the website, I see many, many familiar faces of folks around town. So I'd love to kind of hear from you what that work's looking like.
Going back, I haven't said it. I'm going to say it right now. Tulsa is a place of not always what you know, but who you know. And I think it's very prevalent here. And so, and being able to use that network, not being afraid to reach out and use that network. So I was working for a different organization. I was preparing to leave the organization and do some other work. I enlisted the support and help of Tanil, who's awesome from City Year, and Carlisha Bradley, who is amazing.
I love Tanil. I knew Tanil through my mom, and she got me an opportunity at City Year back in the day. So
we love Tanil. Tanil is so awesome and so pretty. We just love Tanil. So Tanil was helpful. Carlisha was helpful. There was so many people who was very helpful in that transition. And I got a call from Carlisha, and she was like, "Hey, I know you're no longer with this organization. Are you interested or looking in your next opportunity?" I was like, "Okay, what's the next opportunity?" And she said, "Well, there's some people we want you to meet with, and they'll tell you more about it." I said, "Okay." She was like, "So I'm going to have Allison call you." Now, she said Allison like it was a regular Allison, like a around the way Allison, not Allison Anthony, honey. Okay. I said, "Hello?
Hey.
Is this Miss Anthony?" I was like, "From United Way, Anthony?" I was like, "Okay, Allison, how you doing?" And so we had a conversation, and then she connected me with the wonderful, amazing, dynamic Peggy Simmons. And I was able to meet with Peggy, who also gave me grace because I was late again. My goodness, y'all. You know what? Pray for me about this time management. Anyway.
You were on time today.
Because I was on time today, though. Come on and give me my star because I'm growing. You see? Growing together. Isn't that what we're doing?
Growing with us.
Right, grow with us. There it is. So you see it? So there's that. And I met with Peggy, and she told me about the opportunity. Peggy had the opportunity to go through the African American Leadership Academy in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
And that academy has been around for over 20 years. And she went there and came here. For those who are not familiar with Peggy Simmons, she was the president and COO of PSO, our electric company. And now she's the EVP of utilities for AEP, their parent company.
That's amazing.
And so, she's phenomenal. And the name is not going to tell you, but she's a Black woman and she's doing the thing. Because I ain't going to lie, when they said Peggy, I was like, who am I about to go here and meet? And so anyway, it was perfect. And she told me about the opportunity and why she wanted to bring it to Tulsa. And I thought it was awesome and great. And it was also supposed to start off as, we only need you for a couple months.
Oh, there we go.
And then we'll help with other people. And I was like, okay, perfect. 4 years later, I'm here and still loving it. It is an amazing opportunity. Essentially, what it does is it takes individuals who are in their middle to higher level career with the goal, professional development, developing them in all the different ways. But the goal is for them to be able to become executives and chief level in those kind of roles. And specifically for African Americans, because when we look at the numbers, we look at the report through McKinsey & Company and others, we have a lower level of sponsorship, which is different than allyship. Mm-hmm. And our numbers change in ways that are not positive. So when we come in and they bring us into the entry level roles, we stay there for a very long time compared to our peers. And when we finally do move up, that's why you'll see us and we're 80 and we just now became the SVP or something, or we just now became the chief, whatever. And
too little, too late is what that means.
It's ridiculous. And so what the African American Leadership Academy does is take these individuals, give them the skill set that they need that's tailored to being an African American in these spaces, which is different than just being a person in the space.
Absolutely.
And so tailors to their experience, provides them with exposure, which we know is necessary and needed, and provides them with a community. So if there's something that happens in their role, they get displaced, something changes, they have a community of individuals who have gone through the same thing, look like them, have similar backgrounds and experiences and culture to lean into and lean on to be able to lift up. And so the goal is not just to have there be 1 million African Americans in these executive or chief level roles. The goal is to also, in addition to that, is to reach back and give back, right? Because now you have taken off who we're going to put next. How do we continue this for future generations? And so that is the work that we are doing. We are on our 4th cohort. They will begin their kickoff will be December 12th, and their first in-person event will be January 18th. And so it's a 6-month program in person. We partner with Korn Ferry, Schnucky Turnbull Frank. We have wonderful sponsors. We have the same that most people have, right? We have Schusterman, we have Bernstein, we have GKFF. We're working on Zero. Shout out to Zero. And we have the Tulsa Area United Way has really, really been amazing in their support of that, which goes back to Allison Anthony again, right?
Absolutely.
You see the connecting points and the through lines with everything. And so that is essentially what we are doing and how we are trying to help move Tulsa forward.
That's amazing. What a city for that too.
Yes.
I mean, I think that we've been, since I've been back in Tulsa, I think that, I find this fact about my experience deeply troubling. I didn't learn about what happened in 1921 until I was in high school. When I was in a high school that was burned down, and I went to Booker T.
Okay,
and so this was in 2012.
So the race massacre.
The race massacre, absolutely. And so I just find the legacy of that being approached in a different way since I've been back in 2020. 2020 was that year anticipating the centennial. The centennial, and I don't know if I'll go as far to say celebration, but I think I would say remembrance and approach to reconciliation, because I think it's too far to say we've reached it.
Right? No, we have not reached it.
But what I have seen in my observation, and this is of course from a perspective that does not align necessarily to I'm a Tulsan, but I'm not a Black Tulsan.
Right.
I've seen many people step up to be a part of this work and be a part of, what I would say maybe is the right side of history, and recognizing that there needs to be some institutional changes and how we're going to get there.
Absolutely.
And this is an organization, very quickly, even from hearing from you, and then also looking into on your website, that is. We're back into honoring that legacy and empowering the future generation, the current generation, and also honoring the past generation of leaders, Black leaders, specifically in Tulsa. And so I love every element of this program, and I hope that there's ways to collaborate in the future in so many ways. It would there are many familiar faces. I see Jonathan Long on here.
We love him.
I see Rue Ramsey on here.
Rue.
I see so many. Angela Steele, another City Year person.
Angela, doing a big work at City Year.
Awesome people that have really just intersected me and my professional career here. And so you are really doing the work there. And I'm so excited to hopefully support this organization going forward.
Thank you for that.
So one of the last things I want to touch on before I let you go is I need to hear from you. I got to ask Jameelah this one. Just like I had to ask you about if you thought Tulsa was the South.
Yes.
So you've been here 4 years.
Yes.
You've done amazing, impactful work here. What's the next best move for Tulsa, in your opinion?
So I think the next best move for Tulsa, I think there's a couple of different things. One, I do think that train is not a bad idea. However, I think before the train, we need to get some actual buses. That bus, I don't know what's going on.
Yep.
And so there's, the buses give me the image. Remember in Harry Potter when the bus came and nobody else could see it, but it was just if they were on it? That's how I feel about the buses in Tulsa.
Yes.
And so there's that. I think that would be a good thing. Retention is a thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people come here, they experience it, they like it. Oh, it's cute. How do we retain individuals? And I think the other thing for me would be there's a lot of funding. There's a lot of funding sources. How do we hold people accountable to what they said they were going to do?
Oh, absolutely.
And they're not doing. How do we do that? And then just a personal thing for me, I'm single, ready to mingle. So we have to have people to mingle with. Okay?
Where are they at?
So no, where are they?
Where are
Seriously.
they? Yeah.
If we got to go to 9 3/4, that's cool too. Whatever it is. Okay. Just let me know. I'm down. And clearly you see I like Harry Potter. So I think that those types of things would be a great move for Tulsa. I think the other thing that I want Tulsa to just be careful with is we're not trying to be Oklahoma City. We're not trying to be Dallas. We're not trying to be these places. We shouldn't try to be that. We are who we are. We are Tulsa. And so what does Tulsa specifically need? Not what other cities have done and they've gotten to those places.
Absolutely.
I think we're doing great with our direct travel. We have the one to LaGuardia, we have it to LA, we have it to all these places. I think that's lovely and great.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we continue to expand that and be a place that people not just want to visit, but want to stay?
Yep. Mobility, opportunity, and retention.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Those are things that I believe in and want to also hopefully start to affect some change.
Yes.
And I think I've had a slightly, I don't know if it's a brilliant idea, but if we were going to,
brilliant is yours.
If we were going to start with the mobility piece and buses and maybe even some type of train, I think we need to connect the suburbs that we have here.
Yes.
I want to be able to get on a train and be in BA in 5 minutes, not 20 minutes in a car.
Right.
Maybe I'd experience it if it was faster than a car,
faster.
Or able to see it and the mobility that could have for those people out there to come in to work as well.
Absolutely.
And that's bi-directional, or that's every single one. You're talking about south, southeast, even further south to Bixby. Then you've got Owasso north, Sand Springs to the west. We have
you better go on with the compass.
We got a whole thing around there. There's so many things around Tulsa that contribute to the numbers, the metropolitan service area in some ways, but we're not allowing those folks, I feel like, to really tap into the resources or the connectivity, the network. I want for things to be for Tulsans, but I like the regionality prospect, and that it will allow Tulsa hopefully to like level up in some ways. And I think that what mobility brings to everyone is connectivity to everyone. And so sorry, go ahead. No, you're good.
How do we do this also for like towns like the historically Black towns or the smaller spaces?
Absolutely.
How we do it for Muskogee, places where people don't often frequent, but they could benefit from having people be able to go there, be there, get back and forth. Things become a lot easier. And then to your point, we don't feel as disjointed because Tulsa is very segregated.
Oh, yes.
And so I feel like we like, oh no, I live in Midtown. Oh, I live downtown. I live in South Tulsa.
I live in a direction part of Tulsa.
That's it. As opposed to, oh no, I saw you the other day. Yeah, I've been over there. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. And so we feel more connected as a community, as a unit, because we can do more together than we can apart. And
absolutely. I'm an Okie from Muskogee, so I'm a big proponent of that.
My dentist is in Muskogee. There are people like, why are you driving hour? Like, mind your business. I like it. I like the look. I like the people. They're fabulous people. Shout out to Spring Dental. Road, Muskogee.
Love that. Well, Jameelah, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on this episode.
As well.
Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything you like to plug? Ways for people to get to know you, get to be involved with any of the work that you're doing?
I guess I should have something to plug. Well, it's my first and last name on LinkedIn. I'm on that. I'm not on social media. And I don't like Bridgerton. Fight me. Oop, there it is.
If you see her in the streets.
If you see me in the streets, you already know. Don't pull up with that Queen Charlotte business, okay? No, seriously. I think that's it.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of Grow With Us. Thank you for listening to this episode of Grow With Us. Grow With Us is supported by InTulsa Initiatives. If you're interested in learning more about InTulsa services for job placement and workforce development, please visit talent.intulsa.com. From there, you can join our talent network where you'll get access to our newsletter, and our talent team will make sure we put the right opportunities on your radar. We put the choice to pursue a new career and opportunities in your hands. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to be notified when more episodes of Grow With Us are released. Let us know what you think about how we're doing by rating and reviewing. It really helps. Grow With Us is edited and engineered by Rant9 Productions and Jesse Ulrich. This has been Grow With Us.